Welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm Chris Willis in this week for Laurel Porter. We welcome once again our guest, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. Mayor Wheeler this week gave his annual State of the City address. We're talking about many things here. I think everything's on the table. Let's shift gears to the rapid growth. We know Portland's got it, and we know one of the downsides is the rise in housing costs. Sure. To address this, the council required new developments, all new developments over 20 units, got to include affordable or low-income tenants. But the Oregonian recently reporting there's real concern that this policy may be dissuading people from building in Portland in favor of other cities with less onerous rules. Do you think this inclusionary zoning policy has backfired, or is it perhaps too soon to tell, or is it something that eventually is going to pay off?
Listen, it is too soon to tell.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we should be looking at this very, very carefully, and we are. So there's a couple of things that we're doing. First of all, I just asked the City Council to pass an incentive package. It was called Multi, and what it does is it actually gets to that permits that are actually vested and ready to go, but were permitted prior to inclusionary zoning, and it gives developers incentives to create affordability. So that's the first thing we're doing. The second thing we're doing is just making sure that as those units come online, we're doing everything we can to reduce the cost, the time, and the hassle factor associated with permitting. So we created a fast-track permitting process, in particular for housing projects. And then, of course, we're doing this 2035 planning exercise. Yep. At the completion of that, I believe that we will have increased some of the zoning opportunities that could potentially create thousands of units more of affordable housing.
That's one to keep an eye on then. Okay, much debate about the building and bringing up significantly taller buildings, you know, as probably you're used to in your job. For and against, very loudly on both sides of this issue. What do you want the skyline to look like in Portland 10 to 20 years?
It's going to completely change. Between the post office site, the Broadway corridor, that is going to be a world-class neighborhood, potentially the Zidell private development to the south. Across the new Tillicum Crossing, you then have the innovation quadrant that OMSI's looking at, the ODOT blocks that could be additional maker space, the work that's going to be done up in the Rose Quarter, and then connecting back over to the post office site again. We're going to be reinvigorating the entire downtown area, connecting all quadrants, reinvigorating the waterfront through what I hope will be a world-class access and energized space similar to the Copenhagen Baths, which are globally famous. We'll be connected, we'll be activated, and we'll be demonstrating all of the values that are important to this community through those developments. Sustainability, smart transportation, walkability, bikeability, making sure that there's lots of transit options for people, and making it a truly world-class community. I'm actually really energized and excited by the possibilities.
Did someone say smart transportation? Let's talk infrastructure. That's on everybody's mind as well. A lot of people are worried about congestion, the potholes, and the state of the streets in Portland. We had a lot of work done right in front of our building just this week. What is the status, and what can people expect?
So we have disinvested in infrastructure for years, not only in the city but nationally.
And it's caught up with us.
It has, but the good news is you elected Nerd. A nerd is your mayor and a former state treasurer. So last year I proposed what was called Build Portland. We enacted it through the City Council. It takes tax increment financing from expiring urban renewal areas. We bond incrementally against those tax increment dollars, and voila, $600 million is now reserved for investments in roads, infrastructure, park infrastructure, and other civic infrastructure. It doesn't cost taxpayers a dime more, and it doesn't rob from any existing program.
Is there
it's a really good program
on that kind of thing?
$600 million over 20 years.
No kidding, and we'll start seeing that.
The City Council has actually just approved the first tranche of funding for 7 significant projects all throughout the city. And these are projects that have been wanted for years, have been stalled for years, and now we're going to do them. We're going to get it done.
Have been talking about those for years too. All right, we'll watch that. Final question. We just have a few seconds left. Changes on the council. We've got Commissioner Saltzman's seat going to be up. Do you have an endorsement?
I am staying out of that race, and I'll tell you why. I got into the City Council race the last time, and I endorsed a candidate, and that candidate did not win. And in a council where I have to build a coalition government for every single significant issue, it just isn't worth it to jeopardize my agenda or my administration's agenda on a political endorsement. Yeah. So there may be exceptions to that, and I reserve the right to make endorsements in this race, but as of right now, I've not chosen to make any endorsements in council races. It's too close to home, and it puts too much at risk.
You see one coming before the election?
Very possibly.
Very possible. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. So much going on. As always, Mayor Wheeler, we thank you so much for spending time with us. We thank you for watching this week. Again, a big thank you to Mayor Ted Wheeler for joining us. Straight Talk airs twice a week here on KGW, Saturday at 4:30 p.m., Sunday at 6:30, just after NBC Nightly News. Laurel will be back next week. Good night.